So, hello everybody. Just adjusting a few things. So, welcome to today's episode of the High and Empowered podcast. We're going to be delving into the synergistic relationships between cannabis and holistic wellness. We're talking about the combination today. So, it's not just this. We're going beyond this. Beyond merely just consuming cannabis to really bringing it into the light and integrating it with exercise, meditation, mindful eating, optimal health. Hey, today we're also joined
Oren.
by by Dualistic Unity, and today it's gonna be very exciting. We've got Andrew. Andrew, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well, man. How are you doing? Great to see
You
you.
know, I'm
Appreciate you having me on here.
Oh, I'm always excited to have you on here. And I'm in springtime mode right now. I'm feeling good. This is my springtime fit because I came back from Colorado recently. It was cold. So I'm enjoying open shirts and short sleeve and no jackets but I see you're cold. So I don't want to rub it in too much.
I'm always cold, dude. Like it's 60 degrees outside right now, and I'm still walking around like kind of chilly. My hands are always getting cold. So I
Oh no.
appreciate the warmth and the sun, but yeah, doing what I
So
can.
now where are you right now?
I'm in New York right now, but yeah, trying to break my lease and get this figured out, and then moving to Vancouver Island, moving to Nanaimo. So
Wow.
yeah, Dualistic Unity is in person now. So
That's
yeah,
gonna be incredible. So you guys are gonna be, you and Ray are gonna be together in the same place from now on.
yeah, working
You
working
guys liked it
closely.
that much. You like being that close to, I mean, all that time apart.
Oh yeah, no, it's been awesome, and there's so many more opportunities to like just do things in person. We have these walks that we'll do, or we'll just film the conversation as we go. And yeah, it's been awesome because we have a lot of episodes of the podcast right now, and getting just getting more of the marketing side out there, and doing more in-person stuff is kind of
Well,
where
I think it's important. You guys have so much to talk about. You have so many different episodes where you guys can integrate this into, where so many people have questions and they can just sit there and listen to somebody and just be. I saw it the other day. You were trying not to create content and then creating content at the same time. So
yeah, just those deeper thoughts about, like, oh, what do I have to share or add? And because we've been talking a lot more, just or I've been realizing more that like there aren't really any answers out there. There isn't anyone out there to tell you how to live or how to be or how to act appropriately. It's always just on you. And as you look to other people,
yeah.
it's become very disempowering. So yeah, kind of at a point where it's like, maybe I can just look to myself and jump in and keep learning stuff. So
But that's the most awesome thing. I talk about it all the time. We have to look to ourselves. Don't necessarily drop your dependence on the need of people to help you through something. And when I say that, it's not always the words they speak. Maybe just sometimes it's the warmth from their heart. It's the true, it's the authenticity of who they really are. But these days it's far and few between. So I understand. But you're right, you are the number one. You have to rely on yourself. You're that lion. You're that, you're that lioness. You're the everything for yourself. And you wake up in the morning, you've got to empower yourself. Whether, again, not everybody needs positive motivation, or not everybody needs words of affirmation. But sometimes when we're relying on ourselves, we do. We need it more than we realize. I mean, yes, I'm strong and I don't have to look in the mirror and say, Oren, you're going to be amazing today. You're going to have a great day. You're going to be happy no matter what shit hits you. Because just to let you know, so I was in Colorado recently for the 420 events for Starbuds. The larger company is Schwaz. I didn't realize what I would run into. I arrived. I got there on a red eye, very, very late night. Got off the plane at 12:45. got my shuttle to the hotel, and I was there at the hotel by 1:30 ish. Hotel was closed.
Wow.
It was 30 degrees outside. It was starting to snow. And the security guard, he's like, "No, you have to leave." I'm like, "I have to leave. I have a room." I'm like, "Can't I like just sleep anywhere? Like where you do laundry? Can I just sit next to the laundry machine? You know, it's got to be warm. Maybe in a stairwell." And he's just looking at me, going, "No, you have to leave." I'm like, I'm shocked. But instead of being angry, I'm like, "Okay, what's around here?" "Nothing. You're 2 miles from the club." "Oh my God, be positive, man. All right, that's fine. That's fine. Whatever. Adversity, bring it on." So it just got colder. And but you make it through. You find a place to be warm. I went to an IHOP and had coffee until they kicked me out. And I knew I only had a few hours. 7 o'clock in the morning came. I checked into the hotel. 8 o'clock in the morning, the people from Schwaz picked me up. No sleep, 2 days. And
Oh, yeah,
but
you make it
in
work.
that, I I was perfectly fine because I told myself I was fine. No matter how bad it got, no matter how cold it was, I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. We're going to get through this. That's what we need to tell ourselves. No matter how bad our situations, it will pass. You will get through this and you will move on. It's the easiest thing to say, the easiest thing to hear, but the hardest thing to act on. And so, no, and that's so now, did you guys do anything for 420?
We did. Yeah, we did. And just, yeah, on all of that. Yeah, it's you start to realize how much you can take too, the more you go through. And I've definitely been gaining more of an appreciation for just, those times that aren't as comfortable. Not because, yeah, a lot of my life has just been surrounding comfort, trying to be comfortable, trying to avoid discomfort. But, you do get through, and that's how you build sort of that resilience, going through different discomforts and uncomfortable situations, just having an opportunity to be like, no, I can handle that, and I can handle that, and I can handle
Well, you've
that.
been through a lot lately. And in that, do you even feel within the last year, 2 years, with everything that do you feel those changes? I mean, do you feel in the decisions that you're making, in the choices that you're going forward with, now that you've gone through some adversity, now that you've had some ups and downs there to help guide you differently? Do you really feel that difference in your decision making?
Yeah, I think for me it's been like more aware of certain things, more. Oh, did you go? Yeah, you still there? Hold on.
I think I'm here. Am I here? I'm here.
There you go. Yeah,
Okay.
I think just having more awareness of myself and tendencies and habits and different ways that I focus on certain things. Like there's definitely been that, and just a back and forth between, yeah, focusing on myself versus not, and having the opportunity to, you know, experience consequences of doing so. Getting a good look at the futility in that. Um, I guess. Oh, I lost you on the video again. There you are.
Oh wait, I'm here.
So
I think I'm here. Am I back?
yes,
Okay. I it's like I don't know what's going on with my connection. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So we'll keep it interesting.
you're making it. Yeah, you're making it work, man. But yeah, because yeah. So I guess I'm curious in your experience, because you've lived a very full life, it feels like, and you keep going through all different sorts of things. And I think for a lot of my life, I thought there was going to be a point where it stopped, like, oh, you just kind of get it figured out and then you have things solved. And there's this sort of point where everything's just fine. But for me, I thought I kind of found that point, and then I realized how much it was just avoiding a lot, avoiding a lot of different uncomfortable situations to get into instead of jumping into more. And so I was able to kind of like maintain that perspective. But um yeah, I don't know. I had a question, I thought, but never mind. Um so yeah, the you're getting into the 420 events as well. And yeah, we actually went to one at this spot called Keys Hollywood. They are a cannabis, not a dispensary, but more of a lounge, a community, not a community center, but just like a place for people to get together. It's on Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood. They're not opening until I think June or July, but it was really cool. It was through this guy Rama Mayo, which I'm not sure you're familiar with.
I've heard it,
But yeah, he's involved in the cannabis industry in a lot of different ways. And yeah, he was on the podcast like a month or so ago, and then he let us know about this new spot and this situation. And so he invited us to that. And so we saw that on Thursday, like on April 18th, and then they let us know, like, hey, we got an event coming up on 420. Would love for you guys to swing by and check it out. So yeah, and then we were there, and it was awesome. I think Zippo was sponsoring it. Royal Blunts was there as well, and yeah, it was thrown by Green Street Agency, which Rama is very involved in, his company. And
connection.
yeah,
There.
hold on, what else? Yeah, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. We got super baked and had a good time, and so yeah.
I think that's the one day we can really do that. I mean, when I say that, that's the one day we can get super baked. I mean, I was telling somebody the other day, we don't smoke that much. I mean, I don't smoke that much. I'm not smoking. Oh, I mean, okay, maybe I am, but I'm not. I'm not smoking all day long. I'm not smoking big, massive blunts. And so, but on that day, in our form of celebration. By the way, is the connection coming through a little bit better now?
Yeah, you're coming through.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm relocating here on the property, trying to find a better connection, a better anything. Let me go over this way. There's some shade. But, I went to Denver, and, I was actually brought down there by a company, by Schwaz. Really, really nice people, really great company. Sorry, I'm just running between things here. In my relocation of things. There we go. Maybe a little bit better. So I went to Denver, and I smoked an incredible amount, regular basis. And on 420, it's almost like we do that. That's our thing. That's our form of celebration. But I really would have loved to see more education brought into the mix, more education as part of 420. So instead of it just being a celebration about cannabis, instead of it just being a celebration, it should have been a celebration also for the advocates, the people who've been fighting for it their entire lives, the growers of the plant, the cultivators. It should be a celebration, not just. I don't know why my phone's acting crazy today.
Yeah, I'm curious it should about be that, because like with the education versus the celebration, because I feel like a lot of people who really celebrate 420, a lot of people I met at the event that we were at, they're like so deeply immersed in cannabis that it needs no convincing whatsoever. And so I just being someone who's like relatively new to cannabis, who's still like, I have an appreciation for it in the sense that it makes me feel really uncomfortable in a lot of ways. And so I'm curious, because a lot of people who are like on the border maybe aren't big on the 420 side of things, at least going to the events. Like usually it's cannabis enthusiasts that are there as opposed to like newbies. So I don't know, do you see the education fitting in to be necessary for, I don't know, people who have or are already like as convinced as they could be about the plant, who are the enthusiasts? Like, do you see, I guess my question is like, do you see many people who aren't enthusiasts at 420 events like that because they are curious about hearing more about cannabis?
Am I back? Good. I heard you. That's the thing. Yes, not as many. I mean, mostly people that are going to be going to these events, they're going there because they're the enthusiast. I mean, I have a friend, he's a grower. A few people made comments on some of my videos, and I was doing lives during that time. And they're like, it's snowing. It's too cold. I'm not going to go out into the snow and the cold to enjoy my shit. Instead, I'm going to sit here, celebrate 420, and be like, boom. But they're enthusiasts. They're connoisseurs. They're people who are growers who love their weed and they're really good at it. I saw more like the trend. People want to get, people want to, because you're not really there. You can't hear the artist. You can't really see what's going on. And in that, it's, I guess it's just to be in the crowd. And especially the Mile High celebration that I was at, that's a celebration that sees upwards of 90,000 people. It's free to everybody in Denver that lives there. And if not, then I think you can just get on the list to be able to go to this event. But I was there, and there was Fred the God, Gucci Mane, Because I Got High, Afro Man. It's like the theme song. I think I've even written a few verses. But it was nice. It was nice seeing all the people there, but they're all kids. I mean, they're not just kids, but they're all just people, look, coming to smoke. That's what they're looking to do. They want to smoke around other people. They want to celebrate it in front of other people. That's 420. But I would love to have seen some of the brands there really pushing more education, maybe talking about how different cannabinoids can help the body. Different cannabinoids can work to help lose weight, regulate blood sugar. That's a big one. Regulate blood sugar. Help with dementia, and people are coming to enjoy. But we can get high, and it's not like can't get high and can't learn and be excited.
Right? Because that can almost like deepen the passion too for the plant. Because like a lot of people I know who are big into it, like they don't necessarily know much about the cannabinoid system or endocannabinoid system, and like
no, but you're right. You just said it. They're big into it though, and they don't know.
Yeah, so that could almost make people more enthusiastic and excited about it, which is cool because the whole medicinal side of it has never been something that I've really understood well, which I know, you have a lot of background in understanding.
But you can learn, and you keep, because we have to actually intentionally do things differently. Look, to make tea, I started making tea with raw cannabis, and people were laughing at me. Look, I had doctors laughing at me going, Oren, it's not going to do a thing. You're just soaking your cannabis in the tea, and it's not doing anything. I'm like, well, no, it is. And I can feel that it's doing something every time. And I'll tell you where I feel it, how I feel it. And then I found out by decarboxylating the cannabis at such a low temperature like that, instead of going really high temperature, instead of going, overboard and burning off all the beneficial cannabinoids, I'm getting the CBGA. Now it's CBGA. CBG is the beginning of the cannabinoids. That's the mother of all cannabinoids. And A is the acidic. So now we're getting something that's doing a live decarboxylation in my body. It's changing, attaching directly to my neuroreceptors, also getting into my stomach, because we're talking about, things in their acidics. But yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask how many variations is the acidic form. Is that something that you have to shift it into, like a CBG?
So, well, I think it's all in its extraction. So if you're doing a solventless extraction, you're not using solvents. Maybe you're not even using heat, or incredibly small amounts of heat just to loosen up the bud or loosen up the oils from the flower. But in that, you're not burning it off. You're not processing it. You're not really decarboxylating it yet. And going through that first part of the process, you're able to keep with its acidics. You're able to keep with what is going to be more beneficial to the plant. So I think in that, it's really just in how you're processing and how you go through that, because there's also THCA. And for us to be able to there's different process to get to, whether it be CBGA, THCA, CBDA. And each one of those are responsible in different ways. Like CBDA is an anti-inflammatory, a very strong anti-inflammatory. When other medications and things won't work, CBDA will. And these are just some of the ways we have to relook at cannabis. I mean, we can't just look at it and say, okay, it's going to work for me. Or, I'm gonna smoke a joint, and hey, I'm healing myself, maybe mentally, but I think the kids want to know about this. Like when I say kids, and I apologize, everybody, anybody younger than me is a kid right now, and actually anybody older than me is a kid. I just don't give a shit. Everybody's a kid. It's just kids. I think
Bunch of kids running around, dude.
I think people these days are wanting to be more involved. They want to know more. Like when I was at these 420 events, so I also did the Red Rocks amphitheater event that was
Never
sponsored
been
by
there.
Starbuds.
I've always
Never
wanted
been
to.
there. Oh my god, one of the most amazing amphitheaters I think I have ever seen. I mean, wow. I'm
I've seen
still in a wow
pictures.
mode
I've heard
over it.
really good things. Yeah, I've heard
Well,
it's
the
like
sound is
one of the
incredible.
not like 7 wonders of the world quite, but like when it comes to concert
No,
venues, pretty close.
probably one of the best concert venues. I mean, I've been to some amazing concert venues, but this place is carved out of the red rock. The seats are carved out of the rock. I mean, you have to climb a really long way to get to the top, which there's no need to go up there. No reason other than the really beautiful view. But while I was there, they had the worst fog they've seen in a long time. It just covered everything. It was like we were sitting in a cloud the whole time. And then it got cold, really cold. So,
Yeah.
but it was
Yeah.
amazing. And for concert venues, the place was gorgeous. And we were backstage and front stage, side stage. We were everywhere. But we were there for the Wiz Khalifa concert. There was also
And
the Flatbush
that was a
Zombies,
part
Clay Woods. What's that?
wow, that was part of a 420 event, that concert there, or
I
that
feel
was
like it
just
was one of the bougiest 420 events that I've ever been to. Um, because Starbuds had a green room in the back, which was right on top of. There was another green room below us, and there was a whole bunch more. Um, but so many artists. Really exciting night. We actually did the live stream from there on Restream, and the connection was a little rough because once we wanted to do Wiz, we were trying to get close, but once he started playing, everybody must have been live streaming, and there we just couldn't. We had nothing, but we tried. And we did interview some amazing people with Schwaz and Starbuds and Emerald Fields and Standing Akimbo, and we talked medically. I mean, while we got high, and we talked though medically about cannabis and how cannabis can help us. So, and some people are saying, well, aren't you just high all the time? I'm like, well,
mhm.
I need healing all the time, and I'm not high.
So
And we
so
discussed it. They're like, well, what do you mean you're not high? I'm like, okay, I'm
so
happy.
how
Well, no,
how
go
much
ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just curious, like with different strains, because like I don't, admittedly, I don't know much about cannabis, period, besides that, yeah, it kind of helps me to relax a little bit more or see where I'm not relaxed or the things that I'm looking at. But do you use, and I understand with like hybrid sativa, indica, like those have different impacts, but because I've been starting to smoke a little more, I've noticed that there's different ways that it impacts even. And sometimes I'll smoke something random and then be like, "Oh wow, I'm really really anxious. Like I don't know what I smoked before this. I just put an old joint into a vape and just smoked a bunch of it before before I got on here." I'm like, yeah, there's some definitely some discomforts arising. But so anyway, how often do you switch the strains based on like something
Constantly,
you want to work
constantly.
on or
I do
look
it by my
at
nose.
or heal, heal.
It's more by
Like,
nose.
is
It's
it
by smell.
yeah. Yeah.
It's
Oh,
that's a big tell right there because my body will tell me what I'm looking for. Now,
mhm.
smoking it may not be the answer you're always looking for, and that's why when I was telling you I make tea, there's a reason to make tea because I'm getting cannabinoids that would normally be burned up when I put a lighter to it. Anything over 300 degrees, it starts to decarboxylate. It starts to break down, and I use specific products for specific issues. But when it comes to me just smoking, well, I smell it. Now, I mean, if I get a chance and I have it in a container like this, and it's something I smoke on a regular basis, I'll shove my nose in there and I'll really take a deep, deep whiff. That smells really nice. A little minty, a little lemony, oh, citrusy. Oh, that is gorgeous. Anyways, but it doesn't
Does
always
that
smell that good to me.
does scent activate any
It
endocannabinoid
does.
stuff?
It does. I
Yeah.
think, well, okay. And I'll explain what I mean by that, but it's smell that tells everything. And I can smoke that, but maybe tomorrow my body doesn't feel like that's exactly what I'm looking for. And I can tell one of two ways. So if I smell it, I'm just kind of like, it's okay, but it's not what I'm looking for. And I'll smell something else, maybe, oh, that's gorgeous. And it's an indica. I don't normally smoke indicas or hybrid leaning indicas, but I'll smell it and be like, ooh, something that's lovely. So I'll roll a joint or I'll pack it in a pipe and I'll smoke. And usually that'll help for my recreationally medicinal side. But I'll light a joint or smoke a bowl and I'll start getting a headache. Now, if I start getting a headache and I start feeling a little uneasy and anxious, I put it down and I walk away from it. And then, later I'll forget. So I'll walk back and I'll see the joint again. I'm like, oh, look at that. And I'll pick it up and I'll smoke it. I'm like, oh no, 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 no. That's what's giving me the headache because my body, that's not what it needs. My mind or my nervous system, that's not what it's looking for. It's looking for a different strain. So an easy way for me to kind of pick through strains is by smell. Smell your product. Learn about the terpenes and how those terpenes on their own can also help you. Because THC is only part of the catalyst. Today we were talking about the combination. And THC on its own doesn't heal. CBD on its own doesn't heal. CBD needs THC to bond to the body. And when you asked, are there
Oh,
certain
'cause
strains and
I
certain
mean,
things that I smoke? Look, Durban Poison. I love Durban Poison. I love Colombian Gold. They're both sativas, but they're also high in THCV, which helps me regulate my eating habits. It makes me not hungry, or it makes me hungry for
mm,
specific things only.
is
It
that
helps
because it
regulate my
impacts?
blood sugar.
Because I know, like hunger hormones, ghrelin and leptin. I think ghrelin's like the hunger hormone. So is that
Right.
THCV? Does that have influence on
It
ghrelin
does.
directly?
It actually reduces the hunger. It reduces the I think the amount of chemical reaction or however they put it, but or its chemical interaction that it has. Um, but it reduces hunger. This is a big deal because people who eat a lot are hungry. They're hungry because their mind and their body are telling them to eat. And everybody's
Mhm.
always telling me, but cannabis, how are you not hungry on cannabis? I'm like, indicas will make you hungry. Cancer patients need those indicas to relax their mind, relax their muscles, okay, especially those even around the stomach, to allow them to eat. This is a big deal. We think this one plant in its many different forms, it can do so many different things. I mean, my blood sugar is regulated because of sativas. They're vasodilators. They open up the blood vessels and they got me moving. They got me excited. So certain strains, yes. Certain sativas, I can't do. Uh,
Mhm.
Certain sativas give me headaches. They make me anxious. They give me, I'm just like, or I'll get
Mhm.
angry. And I mean, I don't want to smoke smokes like that. I want nice, relaxing, beautiful stuff that helps me with my pain, helps me with my
Mhm.
mind. There's one called Flow,
And
FLO, and they've crossbred that in so many different ways. But that came from Afghani and Purple Thai, which are both indicas. But Flow is a sativa. And she is a lovely sativa, strong sativa,
Mhm.
skunky, and just sings to you. And that skunkiness helps open up your mind in so many ways. By the way, this conversation should be a 420 conversation instead of brands just saying, "Hey, buy our pre rolls or buy our crap." No, it should be this as well. And
Mhm.
our pre rolls are high in THCV, or our pre rolls have CBGA in them, or
Yeah.
THCA, or blah 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 blah. Let's talk about it. Why and how is it helping you?
Yeah.
That's where I
Yeah, because
want the
there's so much
conversation to
more.
go.
Like, there's so much more to the plant and to the cannabinoids, like all the and so CBD though, because that got marketed, for you that got really big like 2015, 2016. But what you're saying is that that actually doesn't have impact on you
Well,
at
no, no, no,
all
no,
unless
no,
there's
no, 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 no.
THC?
It does. It does. But you need the THC. So if you're doing CBD on its own, it may
That's
only
what I'm
bond to your
saying.
body for 4 to 5
Yeah.
hours. That's it. And it doesn't give it time to activate. It doesn't give CBD time to become a full spectrum healer. Wow. It's CBD not only helps the mind, it helps the stomach. It's going to help in combination as an antibiotic, an antiseptic. Um, it eases PTSD on its own. No, it could definitely use more help. That's where THC comes in. It enhances the effects, enhances the bond that CBD will now have in the body. So when you combine THC, whether it be smoking or an edible or a topical or a drink, which by the way, I tried a drink. I tried Keith Cola's Mr. Puffer.
Mr. Puff.
Delicious. Oh my God. I'm not promoting anybody right now, but that Mr. Puffer was Mr. Puffastic. Anyways, but in that, THC, just a little bit, bonds the CBD to the body in incredible ways. And now that CBD is working full spectrum for the next 20, 30 days, now it's doing something amazing. So you don't have to take CBD every day. And that's also another big thing that was mismarketed. But
okay. Okay. That makes a lot more sense then. And so I guess I'm curious, THC then, is that an activator for a lot of those? See, like CBG, CBD,
well,
CBN,
it all comes within the
or just
series.
an
And when I say that, if
amplifier
it's just a
more so?
THC, it's not, I don't find it as an active. I mean, it activates, but THC requires all the other cannabinoids together in combination to make it work properly. That's why I advocate for full spectrum products. I'm not a big vapor, but if I do vape, I vape something called rosin. Rosin is the only product that's done solventless. It's done maybe with a press, and they press the oils out of the cannabis flower and distill it just a little bit, get some pieces out, get the
Right.
organic matter
That
out.
was the guest you had on, Eric Asher. Is
Eric
that his
Asher
name?
of Asher's
He
Finest
gave us
Rosin, absolutely great guy,
Yeah, he gave us that whole breakdown on the extract process. I didn't realize that
incredible.
whole solventless product, like it's actually just squeezed and compressed out of it. Like I
That's it.
thought there were, yeah,
No
that was
chemicals,
really cool.
maybe a slight amount of heat. I mean, remember, the heat has to be
Mhm.
regulated so that they can heat up the product and they can push things out.
Yeah, but he's
And some
it's like that
companies will
company
spray their
too.
product down, with butane or ethanol in order to help extract more oils out. Terrible. I mean, it's a process, but
Mm,
the more
yeah,
expensive way to do it would be the way Eric does it at Asher's Finest Rosins. That's beautiful. And then that is vaped, or that is turned into a concentrate that I think on his show I was using it. It was a Puffco Proxy. It's my Sherlock
right.
Holmes pipe, but it's an
Mhm.
electric pipe. And I take my concentrate and I put just a little bit, into the bowl, and I put it on the lowest temperature and I sip. I sip it like a fine wine. The flavor comes out. That means I'm getting the terpene profile of it in such a very strong way. Not only that, I'm also getting a
Because you
full
can smell
spectrum
it?
cannabinoid. What's that?
Because you can smell it, you're
I
ingesting?
can smell it, I can taste it, and
Mhm.
it's a full spectrum product. So it means it's not just THC. It's THC and CBD and CBGAs and THCVs and whatever you would lose, and CBC. And I mean, there's so many. There's 160 active cannabinoids. 160. Yes, but there's only about six major cannabinoids that we've researched and put a lot of research into and a lot of time into, but 160. Actually, there's even more. I think I've even seen in some publications 250 plus cannabinoids that have
And
active
this isn't
presence. I
like,
mean, that's huge.
that's crazy because I never heard anything about endocannabinoid system for, my whole life until right now. And I know you've said before that like doctors don't even, you said, I think that was on a Being High episode, that like doctors don't even understand it. Like it's not even something that's looked at because I guess I don't know. Because do you think it's because it can't be active, like accessed by pharma products? Like it
No, no, no,
can
no. Oh,
only
oh,
be
I'm
through
so happy you asked that.
cannabis?
Wait, I'm so happy you've asked that because pharma's the one that's paying right now for the research. The American government had been paying for research for over 20 years to Israel and Israeli universities, where they had even first discovered the compounds and the CB1 and CB2 receptors in the body, and which is the endocannabinoid system, which brings homeostasis to the body. That's what the endocannabinoid system really does. It creates homeostasis and balance within our bodies. That's temperature control, that's tolerance for diseases, tolerance for weather, tolerance for everything. It's incredible how many places cannabis actually has cannabis actually has a place. So the research had been done for so many years, but it's been suppressed by the same government that's paying for the research. Then, when the government was done paying for it, Big Pharma came in and said, well, wait, we'll pay. We got this, something, let us foot the bill. And now it's still being suppressed, and now by Big Pharma. Why? Because cannabis, now, anything I say right now is fact. Fact, and you can look it up. Now, even on LinkedIn, on my site, I have multiple links. Actually, I think in my favorited or my, 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 the top of my page, there's a link to 700 medical studies that have been peer reviewed for cannabis. 700 alphabetically done by disease. Incredible. I even have another one recently, 34 different studies, specific studies about cannabis and cancer and different cancers that it can help with. Cannabis isolates in full spectrum, in RSOs, in proper use, in maybe combination with other things, eating right, changing your diet. Diet's a big one. Remember, your stomach controls everything. But in that, it can help cure cancer. It can help. In all cases, no. In severe cases, no, but maybe. And something for those cancer patients, and I've said this also in symposium, seminar, and blah blah blahs. If a person is happy, they live longer. If they're sick and they're dying and they're in a mental state of dying and a mental place of dying, like a hospital, they die. They stop trying to live. They stop wanting to live. They stop being. When they're happy and pain-free and eating again and trying to live, they can push through this. Their body can fight things. Their mind can fight things. That's what we need.
Yeah.
That's
Well, 'cause
exactly what we need.
a lot of it
We
a lot
need
of it is
we need them we need their pain to be eased. We need their minds to be free and clear and happy. And we need cancer patients eating. My mother died of a blood cancer. I have trouble with it still all the time to this day. I couldn't help her, but I tried. And the small amounts I could help, sneaking her shit here and there while she was in the hospital, she was able to eat. She was able to talk to me. She was and
mm,
with education during a time like 420, we could blow the roof off this place. We can let people know that it can help with osteoporosis. CBN, Charlie Bravo Nancy. CBN is an aged oxidized THC. So
and
it's not THC, but it is. It's become something else. And in its extraction, CBN, they've been said it can regrow bone, but that needs a lot of research. Right now, maybe not regrowing bone, but it can help stop the bone deterioration of diseases like osteoporosis. It can help stop it. Maybe not regrow it, but let's stop the degradation of that disease.
mhm,
Let's talk. And CBN, they said they were using this that it makes people tired. Used properly in a regimen, just like medication, it doesn't make you tired. It naturally makes your sleep centers tired. So when you're supposed to be tired, it allows your body to go to sleep naturally. That's huge.
huh,
Look, cannabis has to be re-understood, reimagined, re-looked at,
yeah,
unlearned and relearned. That's how I always push it because there's so much more. Look, I got excited again. I was a guy who cured it, dealt with it on the gray area marketplace for many, 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 many moons. I mean, it supported my life. And in that, I knew nothing. I didn't know anything. I was one of these guys at 420 puffing up a big giant spliff and
mhm,
screaming and yelling, going, finally, not understanding anything. Now, through its understanding, this is my fountain of youth. I juice it. There was an article recently, and I was like, oh, I want to say it was Dr. Hansen. He's on LinkedIn. You can find him. He's been really putting out some excellent content. And I always try to repost excellent content. I try to repost educational excerpts. It doesn't always get educational. People want to see me in a video yelling and screaming or going nuts. But sometimes we need to learn how this can help us. Instead of using medications that are going to hurt us, and we have to take other medications to heal us from those medications, and it's a terrible cycle all the way down the hill. Cannabis, right there, can't hurt you. So I eat it raw. I juice it and put it into my green juices. I make tea from it. These are not actions of, of somebody who's going to overdose from these things.
No, not at all. It's really just a thing that can be used to, complement, supplement your life. And I think, a lot of people have a tough time with the being high component of it, just because there's like a push to not be relaxed, and like almost a stigma against being relaxed as being lazy. Like if you're not rigid and tense, like you're not doing things right or doing things well. Like, and so that was always my aversion to it, was like, oh, I'm just more relaxed right now, less feeling of certainty with things. So like, people who do have a tough time with the high part of it, it seems like there's still a ton of benefits you can get. It's just that maybe the THC component is a bit of an amplifier with the effects, but then that comes with, more of that relaxation or
But
like
not
a
forever.
willingness to do so.
Not forever, though. You don't stay high like that all the time. I've been smoking most of my life. I've been using edibles and topicals and eating it, turning it into butter. Fantastic. I turn it into soap. Look, I use full plant health, full plant medicine. I use the full plant to make my pectin gummies, or to make a chocolate, or to make desserts and butters. Full plant medicine. All the cannabinoids in the book, baby. That's what we want. We want them all in our food. We want them back in our body and replenishing our endocannabinoid system. The older we're getting, we're losing those cannabinoids. We're losing the ability to produce or keep them or hold them within our fat cells. So we need to change the fats that we're putting in our body. That's where I talk about the combination. Stay away from fast food. I know everybody loves it. It smells so good. It tastes so good, but it hurts so much later. It's destroying your stomach. It's destroying, your gut flora. Your gut flora is there helping to regulate your energy in your body, your mood in your mind and your body, your everything, your weight control, your metabolism. My metabolism changed again because of cannabis. I look, all these things I tell people are like, really? I'm like, no, look, I'm living testament to what cannabis has done for me. Sure, I still talk fast. I still have ADD. I'm still bipolar. I'm still all the things you want to call me, but I don't think I'm any of those. And cannabis reminded me that I'm not. I got off all medications, including my migraine medications. I used to take Imatrix. I used to take these shots in my leg. And my dad when I was a kid, he used to love doing this. He used to love putting these shots in my leg. He'd bring it out like from the kitchen, and he'd take the top of the needle off, and it was a huge needle. I mean, like, come on, we didn't have to be ridiculous, but ridiculous. And he'd look at me from like across the kitchen, and I'd be sitting in the chair. And he goes, son, he goes, are you ready? I'm like, am I ready? He goes, are you ready? I'm like, what am I ready for? He goes, are you ready? I'm like, all right, I'm ready. Just bring it. My head's killing me. I can't see straight. Just give me the shot. And he's like, yes, of course, son, I'll give you the shot. And he'd come in and he'd jab it right into the thigh, whatever, the meat of my leg here. The pain from that was worse than what I was going through in my head. And then he goes, right, son, I'm injecting. I'm like, oh, you haven't done it yet. There's a needle sticking out of my leg. So he's injecting it in. And then there's this big bubble in your leg. I'm not kidding. He'd take the needle out. I'm like, holy, this is medication, but I know it's changed. Now they've got a nasal spray. Now I'm sure they've got a pill. But this isn't the beginnings. Look, I went through a lot of medical testing for you people. That was some tough medical testing. So he would do it, and then the bump would be there, and then you have to rub the bump, and that would disperse the medication. God, this is a lot of work. Now, when I have a migraine, I smoke a sativa. I hope you heard me, everybody. I smoke a sativa, not an indica. If you smoke an indica, indicas are mind relaxing, muscle relaxing. Migraines are not muscle. Migraines are nerve. Migraines are a rush into my brain that we have to stop. So I want a vasodilator. I want to open up those blood vessels, and I want to move that right through my body or wherever the hell it's going to go. It's not going to leave the body, but you know what I mean. I'm having fun with it. But in that, I can have fun with it again. But I would have never known to smoke a sativa to get rid of my migraine unless I learned, unless somebody told me that it worked when I was at an event. And that's why these events, these educational testimonial events, 420 should be, you know, melded into that. Yes, have fun. Yes, get high.
Oh,
Yes, celebrate all the doctors, the research people, the scientists, the growers, the
mhm.
the
Yeah.
bankers,
'Cause- yeah.
anybody who's part of this industry. That's a day of celebration of all that we have accomplished, regardless if some people think it's not enough, and it may not be enough, but we've accomplished a ton. And so that's why I'm glad that you're wanting to learn more. That's and in that it makes you a better consumer. It you purchase differently. Now you don't go to
Mhm.
the dispensary. You're like, okay, now you're like, I don't need any of that shit right
'Cause
there.
do
I'm
they
looking for
do
this.
they Do they, for the most part, with strains, do they have an understanding of like, something like THCV or CBN or like how much is in there? Because I know too with like CBN, you get more out of a roach, right?
Well, because it's old,
You
it's
know.
oxidized, it's aged. That's where CBN comes in. So CBN is THC, but it's THC without really any psychotropic effect. So any terpene that's left in that, that's really just going to be like, ooh, I'm smoking a roach, which is okay. I mean, you'll get maybe an itsy bitsy high because CBN will
But you
still
get
give you that entourage, but not as much,
um,
not nearly anything what regular THC would do. But that CBN is doing other things for you. That
mhm.
CBN is regulating the sleep centers in your body. That CBN is it's also good for your stomach. It's also good for the nervous center. So it's doing different things in different ways. Every cannabinoid in its different form is working for and on the body. So I think that's even exciting as its own. But do they know? So you asked, does legal weed know? In recreational markets, do they know about
Yeah, like how much of
THCV?
a
No.
breakdown? Because like, sativa, indica, hybrid, I have a general understanding of that and the impacts, but it sounds like you can pretty much keep looking deeper and deeper and deeper into like the variations and the impact. So it's like even indica versus sativa seems really, really maybe
Okay, so that's
not
that's an argument that a
overconsumed.
lot of people have in the
Yeah.
industry, depending on where you are, depending on I look, I've been fighting for people to understand this plant for most of my life. And I'm not going to say how old I am right now. I'm getting there. But in that, it's always just at least understand the difference between a hybrid, a sativa, and an indica. A sativa is a different plant from an indica. They're two different plants
Oh,
entirely.
really? Oh
Yes.
shit.
I mean,
Uh,
but they're so different in almost in structure and in what they do for the body. But a hybrid is the cross between these plants. So a lot of your landrace strains, your sativa landrace strains, they're out there, but it's a it's going to be a jungle search. It's going to be a lost expedition type of search for some of these, and they're
you
amazing.
said
But
landrace
everything's a
strain.
hybrid now.
What is
Landrace
that?
strains would be your true sativas. Your true strain that has not been hybridized out and crossed with anything
Mhm,
else,
mhm,
like Afghani, a true Afghani, a true
mhm.
Colombian gold. These are land races. So in that, everything now is a hybrid. Everything. But instead of getting, I mean, pretty much everything, and it will lean maybe a little more sativa or a little more indica, depending
Mhm.
on its terpene profile, its smell, its taste, its flavonoid, its terpenine. So that terp will tell you what direction your weed is going. I mean, is it more sativa? Is it more indica? That's it. That's where we are now. Everything's been hybridized. When you get a true landrace strain, you smoke it, you know it. There's a huge difference in it. But the
Okay.
industry has fought so hard to get people to understand just the simplicity of hybrid indica sativa. In the couch,
Mhm.
indica, sativa in the clouds, or your super energy. But it doesn't always work that way. I love a super lemon haze. That's a sativa, but it
Right.
doesn't always work for me. And it will
But
give
it's
me a
not,
headache. Gives
and
me
you're
a
saying
headache
that it's not a
actually.
land
I
race.
no, no, but it's a hybridized hybrid leaning heavy sativa. So your super lemon haze that we're smoking now is no landrace. It's
Mhm.
it's been hybridized and it's nowhere near what it originally was. In but it's become something else because now we have boutique weed. Now everything's a hybrid where they can take so many different things, combine them together to fine tune the healing if we understand it properly. Like super deep purple buds. Oh, and when they're a sativa, this does great wonders for my headaches, for my mood. I can smoke it at night and still go right to sleep. So when I understood that sativas aren't going to keep me up, but instead they're going to help regulate my bipolar, they're going to help regulate my ADD. I use it as a superpower. Look, I'm a salesman. I'm a field rep, activation guy. I can turn brands into great things. I get out there and I create energy, create flow, but it takes a lot of energy.
Mhm.
It takes a lot to keep going and keep staying motivated, especially like say Florida, for example, here in the heat.
Yeah.
I had territory at one point where I was doing all of Florida and I was visiting all the doctors in the MMU, the medical marijuana use registry sites. All, I mean, not all, I mean, I skipped a lot,
Mhm.
but it was hot. I was sweating. My car was breaking. It wouldn't stay driving. I'd break down everywhere. I'd be AAA really knew me by my first name.
Mhm.
And it takes energy that's so deep you have to pull it out. And life is hard. Life is tiring. And it's difficult to go like that every single day. It's difficult to do that every single day. But to get the word out there to the doctors, to be able to teach the patients, to be able to do the seminars and it's every day. It's
Mhm.
every day, but I do it because I love it. I do
Yeah.
it because I smoke sativas and they keep me
Mhm.
going. No, I mean, I joke,
'Cause
but
it's like,
sativas
well,
keep the energy up and
yeah.
my mind
Yeah.
straight.
And I lean sativa, and a lot of times that'll, yeah, put me in the clouds and caught up, like, really, really aware of certain thoughts or
Very
perceptions,
aware.
but
Yes.
it is it is very similar. It's like food in a lot of ways, like, eventually you can go without eating for a while, but eventually you need some food, like, you need some sustenance, and that's a way that we get energy. Like, I'm starting to see cannabis not really much differently, and even if I just
Well,
smoke a little bit in the morning, it's like that can be a component of my day. And the thought of smoking every single day, it's like, oh, careful, careful of that. Oh, don't want to go down that deep, dark path, smoking pot. It's like, oh my gosh,
so it is a
it's,
food source.
it's
It
yeah.
is a food source. Look, you can go to Walmart right now and buy a bag of hemp seeds. Walmart
Hmm.
is selling a big bag of just shelled seeds.
Mhm.
And a handful of these seeds, once a day, are all the aminos and vitamins and nutrients your body requires, not just for sustenance, but for growth, for bodybuilding, for energy. Uncomparable. The Mayans used to make a gelatinous dish that would harden and they would eat it. It was the Aztec or the Mayans, and I'm probably wrong right now, and I apologize. But they would make this like hard tack, and it had chia
Mhm.
seeds in it. It had hemp seeds in it, and they would eat this, and this would give them all the energy they needed on these long journeys. So it is a food source. Look, I told you I juice it.
Mhm.
I put it
Yeah.
into my green juice. I take the
Mhm.
buds now. I wish Florida we could get
Is
fresher
that
stuff like the sugar
Yeah.
leaves
'Cause
and whatnot,
I've
but
done
I
some
still juice what I have.
Yeah, I've done some juicing in the past, and I know it's not necessarily the most cost-effective way of of
No,
consuming
no, it's not.
something, but, like, do you find like, is there something you can get out of juicing with cannabis that you can't
Oh,
get out of anything
yes,
else, like a unique
yes.
thing? Yeah.
Magnesium, manganese, omega 3, omega 6. You're getting the highest protein, higher than eggs, higher than chicken. You're
Yeah.
getting fiber that your
Wait, you're
body
getting
needs.
protein out of
Yes,
cannabis?
yes.
What? Oh,
This is
see,
where I get so
because you said a
excited. Look,
food source
as a stoner,
before,
as
I
a
was
person who
like,
smokes weed, I've gotten so excited over this right here, right now. This is
"That's
it. Look,
on
people are like,
just
I get
blowing
to
my
buy
mind, dude."
weed, and I'm like, I get to juice it. I'm getting what my body is missing. Look at me. I'm 50 years old. I turned 50 this year. All right, so I'm not 50 yet, 49. But holy
It's a
shit,
day over
the
35
energy I
now.
have, I feel fantastic. I run from one side of the world to the other talking about cannabis because I love it. But it's because I have, look, I'm not saying I don't have problems. I have knee issues. My back is terrible. You know, I'm damaged in so many different ways. I've got nerve damage, I got bone damage, I got brain damage. No, well,
We
but in that,
we all got our cuts, man.
we all do. We all have PTSD of life. So my superpower has been cannabis because it's helped me realize who I really am. It's given me the confidence to get the weight off my shoulders and to stand up for myself, to be myself, to learn who I am without the pain, without the arthritis, without the neuropathy, without the fibromyalgia. Do I still deal with these things? Of course I do. But am I better? Yes. Every single day I'm better. I'm a better dad. I'm a better husband. I'm a better friend. I'm a better worker. I don't just believe it, I prove it every single day. Yeah. Yeah, right now. Right now.
I
Wait.
I see it too, man.
As my daughter
And
like
like
walks by, she goes, "Are you doing a podcast? Really? Out here? What's going on?"
you're
I
like,
was looking for better
"Oh,
signal. What's
tell her I say hi." Yeah, because there's empathy
Andrew says
in
hi.
it.
Am I allowed to come on
Uh,
screen to look back?
No, no, just don't. Just wait. Just wait.
Okay.
No. Look now. The kids are like, "Hey, can I come on camera?" No.
oh yeah.
This normally I'm not this close to the house. I'm in the bunker. I'm hiding from the kids just for an hour. You know. You were saying I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
Um. What was I saying just now? That's a great question. Yeah, I don't. Oh, it's there it goes. But
It's
yeah,
okay.
I
No, and
mean,
that's look.
overall, just the appreciation for the plant, for the substance, like
Well, and that's
well,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. The empathy, like it really cuts you down. Like it breaks down if you're holding on to trying to feel good about yourself in certain ways. Like it can kind of show you, at least via its impact on you, that you don't have to do that. You don't have to build yourself up so much because I feel like, at least in my experience, as I've built myself up, it comes immediately with expectations as well. If I think about myself in a certain way, if I try to tell myself a story like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, like it comes with expectations instead of being like, well, I'm me, and I'm gonna show up and pay as close of attention as I can, do my best, whatever that means, and just kind of like be cool with me being me. And so cannabis has definitely helped show me that, because the thought of getting high, like I still get pretty uncomfortable when I'm just really baked and like in any sort of situation, but because it like
Well,
zooms
you're
me in.
self-aware. You're
Yeah.
self-aware. I mean, look at that moment right there, you're more self-aware than you'll ever be. That's why I love meditation. When I get super baked, super high, I mean, I'll walk the land over here and I'll find a spot. And I mean, I'll smoke something super fantastic. And as I'm walking out there, I'm going to keep smoking and keep getting high. And I'll sit down at my highest point. Now I'm the most self aware of I'll ever be. And I'll talk to myself. I'll close my eyes. I'll breathe. I mean, it's probably the most quiet I'll ever find myself mentally and physically. But in that, these are times that you need to figure things out. The hardest life answers questions like you, and you're moving and trying to figure out where you wanted to live, and going through all these ups and downs, and just in that, sometimes we need to stop. I mean, cannabis helps me do that. It even getting super high. Look, I don't really get high anymore. When I was answering earlier, excuse me, I I can smoke a lot. Now, edibles do mess me up, but even at their worst, they'll make me tired. And at the end of them, all I want to do is just go to sleep. I just want to cuddle up to a big fluffy bear or something, and eat Haagen-Dazs and just go to sleep, and then worry about the ramifications of that later on. But that being said, that's what edibles end up doing to me. But smoke, I can smoke, but I can get deep. You're right. I can get super high. But that's helped me get inside my own head without me being my own worst enemy, because we are our own worst enemies. We hold ourselves back from everything. Cannabis helped me stop holding myself back. I mean, even in its smallest way. So you're like, oh, even I was like incredibly high. I'm like, even incredibly high, you can find moments to get comfortable with that. And you don't stay high all the time. I want to mention this. A lot of patients that I've dealt with that have had to use high THC, older patients, retiring patients, here in Florida, I have a lot of those. And they're afraid. They call me up. They're like, look, I'm going to be high. I'm going to be so high. I don't even going to touch the sky. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm going to be high. And so I'm telling them, well, only really at first. The first time you use that product like that, you're going to get a little
And these
high.
typically are smoking. They're smoking
Well,
or
depends.
consuming
Like sometimes
cannabis.
they're using a tincture. And if they're using a tincture, I'll tell them, start small. Remember, you can always
And
phase
tincture
upwards, not
is
downwards. They have oral
edible.
tinctures that'll usually be flavored or not. They're made with an MCT, which is a medium chain triglyceride, concentrated coconut oil, and there will be a broad spectrum cannabinoid product. That means it's not full spectrum. It's gone through a distillation process, and they've added shit back to it, but it's got THC and CBD. Usually it's a 1-to-1 product, a ratio product, or it's just a THC on its own, which again, I think is useless. THC is only good in its full spectrum. So with those patients, you take a dropper, you might get a little high. You take this dropper again the next day, I'm talking about doing regimens and microdosing things. You do a quarter of a dropper in the morning, say a sativa. This is how I talk to them. And I go, just do just the quarter of the dropper. And at first, you're going to feel a little high. Now, if you're comfortable, do a half a drop at first. Just if you're comfortable, stay home. Don't plan on going anywhere. Let it hit you and just comfortably see how you can manage that.
Do you know about
Now,
how much THC is in a dropper? Like
it
milligrams
depends
wise?
on the
5,
product.
10?
If it's like a 1-to-1, normally you're going to have around 5 to 7 milligrams in the full dropper. I mean, in a full dropper, it's 10 milligrams. Usually that's 10 milligrams of product in a full dropper. So it's comfortable to say that in a 1-to-1, that's going to be 5 to 7 milligrams in a full dropper, which is a great microdose. But you need to get comfortable and work your way up there. And a lot of the patients I was dealing with, 2 milligrams is enough. 2.5, 3 milligrams is more than enough because they've never used the product and they are hypersensitive, some people. So in that hypersensitivity, we walk them through it. And these are people that would call the call center where I was working for a while, many, many moons ago. Many, many moons, I tell you. Moons have crossed since that day, my young Indian. So anyways, but then they'd call me the next day. I'm like, excellent. Now do the same amount. But it helped, but it could help more. It can. You're comfortable doing a little bit more? I am. All right, do a little bit more. So they would. And then they would call me back the next day. Now he's like, you know something? Man, woman, it didn't matter. They, them, whoever was calling me. They would say, look, it's working. You're right, it's working because you're not afraid of it. You're right, it's working because you are in control of it. You're right, it's working. You're giving it a chance. And that's what we need for our retired community, is to understand cannabis in a comfortable way where they're not afraid, where they're breaking that personal stigma of years of disinformation, and somebody's walking them through a regiment, doing small amount every single day, microdosing into a regiment. Do it like a medication. The doctor gives you medication. He's not saying, all right, get really, really, really fucking high. All right. And then come back tomorrow, get really, really high again. No, he's not. The doctor is going to give you medication and say, take 2 of these, 1 in the morning, 1 at night. All right. Rock and roll. Go. Bye. Each one of these pills are 5 to 10 milligrams or 20 milligrams. Doing the same with cannabis. Same exact thing. And if you're taking a pill with cannabis, make it easier. Take 1 in the morning, 1 at night. Get used to that. An indica at night, sativa during the day. Unless the latter, because sometimes the sativa helps people at night and the indica helps people like me if I'm
Really?
like
So
on a
that's a difference in their endocannabinoid system, or that's more of a difference in their mental
mental.
way?
Because I don't think I mean, look, if it's made with an indica, like, all right, and this is another big one. If you're doing capsules or even tinctures, I really don't think sativa indica hybrid matters in the sense that If you think it's
Yeah, I
a
never.
sativa, I mean, if it's lemony and I'm doing something lemony, then it's activating my citrus, it's that terpene, citrulline, limonene,
Limonene.
and maybe it's a little peppery, maybe some myrcene, and maybe that's activating some brain signals, and then that THC is now activating through the endocannabinoid system, hitting the CB1, CB2,
Mhm.
and then activating them together, creating the CB3. Uh, all right, personal opinion. Capsules and tinctures, I think, do shit. I mean, in the sense that if you're using it as a bonding agent for CBD, great. If you're using it alone as pain tolerance medication, no. Cannabis works in the combination. The combination. Now, if you don't want to smoke it, do it edible. If you don't want to smoke it, make butter. Put it into your food. Eat a pectin gummy. I'm big on pectin. Pectin breaks down in the bloodstream very quickly. That means getting the medication into your bloodstream even faster so that it's able to cross that blood-brain barrier. You don't want
Are
it
there
getting to your
ways?
stomach and breaking down unless you're doing something like a CBGA or a CBD where you need to coat your stomach and use that, you know, with sorry.
Gotcha. I was just gonna ask, are there ways to manipulate the, amounts being consumed? Like if someone doesn't want, if they want only like 2 to 5 milligrams of THC, but then they want a lot of other cannabinoids, like is there a way to get one without the other while maintaining like some THC, or is that too much? Is that like too much control? Like it comes with each other.
No. I mean, there's products. I'm not a big ratio product person. I believe in making your own ratio. I believe in creating your own, but that's a lot of work, and some people don't have time for that. Some people can't create their own ratio because, again, there's just no time. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm working all day. I don't want to make a butter or do a this or make. So there are ratio products. I have one. It's a CBG, CBD, THC. I use that in such a medical way. How? I don't know. It's like I sit there. I'll take my nutrients, my vitamins, and then I'll take one of those gummies. It's for me, and then I'm like chewing on that, going, something. I am replenishing all systems of my body. I'm putting the vitamins in, and I'm replenishing my endocannabinoid system. Even when I don't smoke, I still feel okay for a couple days. Do I need to smoke? If I want to stay pain tolerable, if I want the migraines to stay away, if I want to be happy around people. Look, I'm not so much positive, I'm enthusiastic. And I say that I've learned that from you guys because I could be a bit of an asshole. I could be a bit of a negative Nelly in a positive way, but I'll bring it. But because life is hard and you got to get through it, however you got to get through it. And sometimes enthusiasm towards life, enthusiasm towards the beauty of life, towards the amazement that this world is, that reminds me. And that's bigger than positivity. That's stronger than positivity. That's what high and empowered is all about. It's about that inner power, that strength. So I'm that's what cannabis has helped me with and helped me realize.
Yeah. And there's an appreciation that comes with that too, like the enthusiasm. Because if it's about, I think positivity for me has gone hand in hand with like comfort, the two, and this kind of push to maintain comfort allows you to stay really positive all the time, but it doesn't actually play out like that. It's like the enthusiasm can be there when it isn't, when you are uncomfortable, versus the positivity is almost like more of a forced sense. But yeah,
Right. No, but and I'm a big pusher in forcing it, faking it till you make it sometimes. Look, I don't always have the insane energy that I have, but I realize without it, I'd be like, hey, hi everybody. All right. Oh, it's been a tough day. All right, we're gonna make it though. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do something. Oh, I just don't even feel like lifting up my arms anymore. But instead, oh, because you pull it from right here, you are the only one you can rely on in the long run of things. I mean, yes, you gain alliances and friendships and loves, And yes, you take that energy and enjoy it and love it and nurture it and make sure you don't let it go. But you have to remind you that you're powerful. Even at the worst days, I fake it with my own enthusiasm to create a world of positivity around me. Does it
And I
always
don't
work?
even know.
No.
I don't know if you're even faking that necessarily, and it's
No, and
because I
that's
think
now I'm not.
a lot of times,
Now that's the thing. It becomes me.
because it's not positivity, because that's something that's
Right.
like
That's what I said. I'm not necessarily positive, but I'm flipping excited. I really am. I mean, maybe it's the cannabis that helps me see it. Maybe more people need to feel this way, and maybe they wouldn't feel so sick or so much in pain or so hurt by life and by what life does to us. That's our bosses, our jobs, our houses, our lives, our wives, our PTSD, our drive to work, our whatever it is, our doom scrolling on the phone. And that's what it is. We're watching other people's lives and we're becoming more depressed that our lives aren't that exciting. Their life is not that exciting. Trust me on that. I mean, I do a lot of videos and I may hug a tree, but before I hugged the tree on video, I wiped it down. I mean, just saying. I mean, I don't know what was crawling over there.
you never.
It's not all what you see. It's,
Yeah, and
it's,
because life is like there's a lot to life, and it can be really, really tough, and then we'll add this sort of expectation of ourselves on top of that, and that's the thing. It's
yeah.
like life is what it is. You don't have to assume. I don't have to assume that, should be done better or like should be doing better. And I think cannabis for me is
But you're
definitely
doing
helped
great. It does,
take
but it
myself.
removes things making me
Yeah,
feel like
sure.
I have to be like them. I don't. And I'm just letting you know, by the way, you're doing great. You're doing flipping fantastic, yo. I'm so excited to see y'all's videos. You guys really are doing excellent. And also everybody watching and listening, you're also doing great. You are amazing. Just sometimes you have to remind yourself that you're doing great. You don't have to match up to be anybody else. Like when I was saying doom scrolling a second ago, our lives have turned into that. And maybe we need to regain control a little bit through, and that's why I look at cannabis. This is just my quick analogy. When we're
And
educated about cannabis, we're a better consumer. When we're educated about how life goes, and we just understand things sometimes, we don't doom scroll and wish we were here or there or this is life, and instead we put down the phone and we get out there and live a little bit and celebrate with
well,
people. And I think that's what 420 was, and I'm hoping it evolves one day. See how I brought all that back around? Okay.
oh yeah, no, well done, man. And a lot of that too is in response to, certain expectations of ourselves too. So I think even just, continuing to pay attention, um, and not, and just continuing to do that can be sort of the focus instead of trying to turn things into something that something that they're not just
No,
by
no.
thinking about it. But yeah.
And that's what today's episode really is about. It's about talking about cannabis again. It's about talking about where it can actually help us. I am so
Helping
excited.
not take yourself so seriously. I think that's been
Yes.
the biggest push for me, because it's like there's an appreciation for it, but there's also like, sort of a let go or be dragged kind of feel that I get with it, where it's like, just let go, man, and you won't be having such a tough time with smoking. Because that's what I've appreciated about it for sure.
Well, smoke helps me in different ways. Like smoke is more immediate. It goes right to the brain, and it's more of an immediate relaxation of the situation around me.
Mhm.
That's what smoke is. But you're burning off all the beneficial cannabinoids. And I want to mention this before we get too far. Everybody's smoking. It's like, yeah, I'm healing. I'm healing myself. I'm smoking. But you're not completely. You may be temporarily healing your mind and healing the temporal situation that you're in, and the PTSD that you may have from the situation you're smoking, and but you're not getting the full health benefits that comes with different use. Now, in edibles, you're getting more so than you would be if it's a full spectrum edible, if it's a full plant medicine edible. if you chew it really, really well in your mouth and you break it down and you swallow it and make sure, that's not a lot of that's going to get to your stomach, you're going to get a lot more of the cannabinoids than you would than smoking. So it's just through education, we just learn that maybe we're not doing it the wrong stuff. We're just doing it the wrong way. And I still smoke. Look, I use it medically. I use edibles, but I still smoke for the immediate relaxation of that situation. And it may not even be a situation. It may just be the continual flow
Experience
that I
of
like to
life.
be on. If I'm not, if I'm, I know I'm not driving, so whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, and it seems like it's just kind of a magical magical plant that can be used in so many different ways, and
Well,
there can
it's
be
history. Yeah.
can enjoy like it can be a way that you enjoy your experience a little bit more, like someone eating a piece of cake. It's like enjoy it from time to time. Don't necessarily eat it for every meal, but it's even more applicable than that. It's like just it can be just an appreciation because it like
An interesting way to take medication.
mm-hmm,
An interest.
yeah,
Look, I look at it like a
very
medication and reinvigorating my endocannabinoid system during the day, and I want to pump back up my THC levels and my pain tolerance or anything of that nature. I have it in food. I eat it in different ways, not just a gummy, but I have butter. I may make a piece of toast. I might use it and just I may drop it into something that I'm cooking. In that, I'm getting the cannabinoids, I'm getting the cannabis, I'm getting that THC, and I'm not traditionally taking it like a dropper or taking a capsule. I'm incorporating it into my lifestyle differently. Now, is this for everybody? You know, is it for everybody? No. Because if you are mentally against it, if you are mentally if you are mentally pushing against cannabis, and this is another big one I want to just quickly mention. If you are mentally pushing against cannabis, then it doesn't work for you. If you are fighting it, it doesn't work for you. And here's how let me explain. Again, with my retiring community, during my days of call center, I was talking to somebody and very adamantly, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. I'm like, okay, it doesn't work for you. Why isn't it right? I don't know. I keep taking more and more and nothing's happening. Da, da, da. So he's taking it wrong. He might be taking the wrong stuff. But in these retirement communities, there's nobody really there to tell them that.
right.
Because instead they get a license from the doctor, they go to the dispensary sells them some stuff that, instead of selling them a solution, they're selling them a brand. And that's what we need to change. We need to stop selling the brands and more sell what they need, the solution. So this customer goes home with the wrong stuff. They take too much of it. They get anxiety. So instead of it helping them, it's working against. And mentally, he's already like, this is not going to work for me. I don't want it to work for me. Just give me my Vicodin, my codeine. Just give me my Imatrix. Just give me whatever. And so he's fighting it mentally. But when you can sit with a customer or a client or a patient or a friend or just a person and relax them into this, explain to them how we can do this as a community. I'll smoke a joint while you take this. Maybe you want to try a joint. You don't smoke? Great. Take some gummies. And we'll just sit here and chit chat. And in the relaxation of going into this and in talking about it as a community and in the education, they understand that it works and that it can work for them. Now, changing the world, not just for one person, but for so many, because that's what we need. We need that understanding. We need just a little bit of understanding and education and empathy. And that's what you started it with, was the whole empathy thing, because that's cannabis and it creates empathy. It creates the love of beyond myself, because you are important. All of you are important. So important. And you need to realize that you are what makes the world go round. You create and manifest the day in front of you. Whether you want to be happy, you're the one creating that. You choose to be happy. You choose to be sad. Cannabis softens it and makes it an easier choice.
And sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it isn't. And sometimes it's like, well, if I'm always pushing for happiness, then that seems like it's gonna drive a lot of sadness from that.
No, don't push for it. Don't push for it. Let it happen. Look, I
There's
didn't
opportunity for it.
in my fake it till I make it. I was never pushing for happiness. I was a
Mhm.
realist. I was fighting depression. I still am. We all do. I mean, in a way, in a way. Look, I realized that what I'm creating is maybe a temporal energy, a temporal push, a temporal version of me. But I needed that, and so did the people around me. And that's what kind of creates Orin. But in that, in the betterment of me, in the years and progress of me, I've gotten better. And there is no fake it anymore. It's just me. It's just energy and it's just kindness and it's just want for good, not pushing for positivity and good things. It's just the want and the manifestation of it. You
Mhm.
know, I want it. I need it, but not just for me, for everybody. So that's where my happiness is different. I don't, you're right though. You're right. It would create. And as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh my God, yes. If you're pushing for a happy outcome, if you're pushing for a positive thing, it ends in a lot of sadness and sorrow
Mhm.
because you have to know who you are. Don't look for that. Don't look for happy. Look for
Yourself.
a beautiful day. Look for positive joy. Look
Or
for
yeah,
or
or
warmth.
just
Are you cold? You cold
or
where you
just
at?
look a little bit sometimes. But yeah, I think it's just looking too. It's not even like as soon as I start looking for something, it's like my focus goes somewhere else, it becomes a sort of distraction instead of just, looking at what's going on. And I think so I think we're, saying the same stuff like most of the time with but I think yeah, I think it's
But
just
this is where you got to
enthusiasm.
fake it. Look, this is where you got to fake it a little bit, just a little bit, and it's you faking it to you. You're not faking it to other people. You're faking it to yourself. I mean, you look, it's I have been right there. And in that, it's a fine line where you have to realize what's what. I have
Mhm.
to fake it to myself. I have to lie to myself just a little bit and be like, look, Oren, shit's bad. Okay, fine. That's your reality. But I know it's going to get better. I don't know anything's getting better, but it doesn't matter because I need to hear these things. And even when I know, it doesn't matter. I need to tell myself, look, talking to yourself is important. You answer the questions that sometimes nobody else can answer. You, oh,
I think
you
I think it's
do
changed too. It's just understanding that, you're gonna keep shifting and changing as well,
know that.
and my perspective of some situations, yeah, it can feel bad and brutal, but I also don't know what's being learned during them. And so, yeah, it's like obviously there's certain things you go through and experiences you have. And there's part of me that's like, I feel like I haven't even been through that many things to be able to talk about, going through tough things, but we all have our variations
But that's the
of
journey.
that. And
Look,
you
that's
get
part of
through
the
and a
journey.
lot
It's
of it,
part of the learning.
yeah. A lot of it looking
I mean, look,
back, you're like, oh, that you have an appreciation for it. It doesn't make it easy going through it, but it's just kind of what it is, you know. Life is what it is, and
no,
yeah,
but
it,
but in that, there's more than that. Look,
yeah,
there's more than that. It's not just it is what it is. It is what we create it to be. It is what we are Look, I was never big on manifestation. My wife got me into power words, you know, words of God or something. I from the well, wait, oh, there she is. What is it? Sigils of power. Now, in that, wait, what is Sha'ah and Vehu? You have Vehu. You have Sha'ah. You say these things with power. You say these things with intention in your brain. I believe I want to say Sha'ah is to create opportunity or to create good opportunity or any opportunity and create the magic towards that. So, do I believe all these things work? They help our energy work. We are energy. We are frequency. We are vibration. We are the magic that we look for. That's us. But in order to manifest that out of the body sometimes, you've got to believe in some things like astrology and crystals and power words. And if it helps, it helps. I don't know. Look, it makes us smile, and sometimes it makes things work. What I believe, it makes us do things in that direction. You know,
I
it
think
makes us.
they can be a certain tool for sure, but you know, believing in something else, yeah, it very much just reinforces that root of even just identity, you know, reinforcing what I think I am, that like there's a story that goes with that goes with the astrology, that goes with the belief that's kind of inherent to it. Like I'm a believer in this, and therefore, you know, it reinforces the same sort of story, all the stories that you can tell yourself. Like, oh, I'm this type of person or that type of person, despite still not even being that.
But
So
in
I
that,
think
doesn't it help in its own strange way? I mean, doesn't that look when you say that, like I
there's an
am this
opportunity,
person
and
or I am that person.
Warren, I do have to get rolling here soon.
We look, our
But
time just flies. It's always so good to talk to you.
it's been a blast, man. Yeah. Yeah. It's been a
Well,
lot of fun. And I
everybody, look,
appreciate all that. I know most of what I have with cannabis isn't so many thoughts as much as questions, but it's been, yeah, really,
bring them
really
on.
informative.
The more you have, look, we're going to sit down and talk again, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about the questions that you have, and maybe some of our listeners have as well. Anything you want to know, I'll break it down for you in a very simple, easy, understandable way. You want to get scientific? Let's get scientific about it. But let's not. Let's just talk about it. Let's smoke a joint and let's talk about how it can heal us. You know, and in that, everybody, I want to say thank you. Thank you for coming to another excellent episode of High and Empowered. You know, we did a little recap of the 420 event. We talked about cannabis's beneficial uses in the body, how we can use it in just some small ways in conversation. That's how we used to do it. We used to just talk. And this is what High and Empowered is about. Feeling the power of you, being the power of you. And let's just talk. No bricks on our shoulders. You know, no, I'm not this person. I'm not that person. We're just two people talking. So thank you again for everybody joining and being a part of this excellent stream. Andrew, thank you. I appreciate you. And everybody, you can find us again next Wednesday, right here, High and Empowered. You could on all the different channels that we are now available. Super awesome, super fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing, incredible day, life, month, year, whatever. Okay, bye.